Welcome back, everyone. We are so glad that you're listening in today. This is part 2 of chapter 5. There was just so much content that we couldn't fit it into one episode, but we are so glad you're here. If you are just tuning in, this episode will spoil chapter 5, Trigger Happy Havoc. Thank you for tuning in again, and we are so excited to keep on going.
I'm Maddie.
I'm Marin.
And I'm Caroline.
And we're the Ultra Hope Girls.
1, 2.
Welcome to the Danganronpa podcast.
Showtime. You're on the threshold of an amazing episode. Showtime.
All right, we're back. Hey guys, how are we doing?
We're great. Excited to jump into the second half.
Yeah, let's just jump right back in.
Yeah.
All right, we've got a body in the garden, folks.
Body in the garden. And this, interestingly enough, is this time around, not only do we have to find the culprit, but we also have to figure out who the victim even is. Like, this is the first time where we don't know who it is.
Right. Difficult to solve murder, if you don't even know who it is. Yeah. My first note on here is Ultimate Firefighter Mukuro Ikusaba.
Oh my god. Yeah. And this doesn't Byakuya like fills the bucket and says, "Here, slave, throw the water upon the body." And I'm like,
just stands and watches while Makoto puts out the fire.
Your beauty is beyond compare, with golden locks and skin so fair. Ooh, Byakuya Togami, Byakuya Togami.
Yeah, he doesn't faint from the explosion, and Makoto's like, "I felt my world go black and I almost fainted," and then he gets hand up a whole thing of water. He's like, "Please put out the fire."
And then meanwhile, Toka was literally flying through the air and doesn't show up for 2 minutes, and nobody asks if she's okay.
Her facial reaction when she first shows up, her sprite, is so funny. I wish I had a picture of that. Caroline is doing an incredible impersonation right now.
oh my god. We get body burn,
which destroys even more evidence.
It's true. I knew it wasn't Kyoko though. I'm not dumb. I saw that tattoo. You know what I mean? I was
and the fingernails.
The fingernails. I was like, Kyoko is not a, fake nail wearing person. Yeah. She would never stoop to that level. No, that's terrible. He wouldn't do that.
Makoto actually says in the trial, he's like, why would someone put on fake nails to just put gloves on over top?
Yeah,
it's
exactly.
just so smart. I mean, yeah.
And I love how in the trial, the first thing you have to do is prove that Kyoko is still alive and wasn't the victim while she is standing in the trial room with
literally
everyone.
Hero. I could not believe that. And Byakuya, the whole time, is like, I can't believe this is a conversation we're having right now.
Literally.
No.
And in that moment, I swear, we were Byakuya.
We were.
Anyway.
My hero. And, y'all, we get that key.
We
and
do.
And then we find out we're on TV. I just made that up just now. You're welcome.
I loved it. I think that the anime actually does a better job of explaining the data processing room than the game. And the reason being, when they're in the data room, they'd get the TV working. Actually, sorry, not they. Hiro, our handyman of the day, knows how to fix TVs. All right. So he just pulls out another new skill. All right. He fixes the TV and then they see themselves on the screen. Right. And they're like, what's going on? Well, in the anime, there's little subtitles and captions on the TV that say things like, Monokuma finally reveals the truth. The group is surprised by the astonishing truth. Up next. And it's like, I really wish the game had done that, because when I played through the game, I was like, there's no proof that this is really being broadcast. It to me just looks like a feed from the camera to the TV. I was like, why are they so willing to believe that what they're going through is being televised? Whereas in the anime, it was so much like a TV show. Every single time Monokuma said something, the screen changed to a new caption, and I was like, this is so perfect. Like, oh, I wish that had carried.
Yeah. That does seem a little like a more of an impact to me than what we get in the game.
Monokuma is back, and we have a little bit of a debate going within the three of us of how you deal with a bear when you see it in the wild. So if you follow our private Facebook group, which you can join, there is a poll or a question going around about, like, you know, what would you do if you saw a bear in the wild? And I'm here to tell you exactly what to do. All right.
Educate us, Marin.
I'm ready. All right. Talk calmly. Stand your ground. Slowly wave your arms. Make yourself look as large as possible. Don't run. Bears can run as fast as a racehorse, both uphill and down. I'm sorry, Caroline is just miming the correct actions, and it's perfect. If you're attacked by a bear, you play dead. Unless it's a black bear, then you should aim for their face with your hands as you attack the bear. All right? Which seems a little risky.
Attack the bear.
Attack the bear. This is after you've been attacked. Yeah, that was from the National Park Service.gov, so we know we can trust it. Yeah, Maddie's looking shocked right now.
I was gonna say, like, I don't know if our listeners should be taking wilderness survival advice from the Ultra Hope girls, but, like, you know, National Park Service, reputable source. I'm just imagining, like, all the students, like, doing those things when they see Monokuma appear. Like, all right, make yourself big, talk calmly, walk away slowly, and Monokuma's just like,
I am Makoto Naegi. Now I'm going to walk slowly away.
Oh, God.
I have some other things about Monokuma in this moment. When we learn about, like, the TV show, not only did it kind of reminded me of the show Big Brother, if any of you guys have watched that. It's like a reality show where all these people are living in a house where there are cameras, and they all have to wear, like, wiretaps, and there are cameras in every single room, and it's, like, literally, like, however long they have to spend in there with absolutely no privacy. It's kind of an interesting show, but yeah, I don't know. But Monokuma says, "This is the ultimate reality show, the best in despair entertainment." And I feel like it's kind of a commentary in a way on the state of modern entertainment, because it's like, I don't know. I mean, it feels like the kind of thing where whenever we see, like, a car crash and we can't look away, whenever we see horrible things, like, happening on the news, there's a part of us, I think, that kind of gets a kick out of it and is like, because we can't stop watching, we're, like, so interested, you know? Like, good news is boring, right? And so the bad news is what hooks people in. And it's like, the game is almost, I think, poking fun at us, the players, because we are also the ones being entertained by this killing game by playing the video game. And so it's kind of like it is very, very meta, like you've said, Caroline.
Yeah.
I actually have one more thing about the room. I missed my note. So he says in that room, he says, like, everything had a purpose. Like, every time you found something, it was because I allowed you to. Like, there was no oversight. I wanted you to have that laptop. I wanted you to have a room where you thought that you were being secretive. You know, I wanted you to find the data room key. And so I think that of everything we've seen so far would be the most despair-inducing thing to me. Like, that would take away every hopeful event we've had, because it was all planned. You know, if the person you're trying to, like, fight and beat knows every time you're getting a step closer to them, then you're not taking any steps at all, you know?
I completely agree. I completely agree.
Ooh, that was a toughie to hear. I was like, wow. Oof.
Yeah, that is true.
Because they've been playing into Monokuma's hands the entire time. And that's why I kind of think, like, the only one who hasn't been playing into his hands the whole time is Kyoko.
Right.
Well, yeah, the only time. So he didn't. So he didn't really get mad at, like, the AI and all the things. Like, he executed the AI, but, like, you know, it's like the only times he's gotten mad is when Kyoko is like stealing keys, which is why this whole freaking case occurs. Because she is the only one. Yeah.
Right. And even with that AI, the only time he took action against the AI was when the AI hooked up to the internet and was going to get information beyond what he wanted them to find, which I think is exactly the point, you know?
Yeah, and then we got Investigation Land, which is like there's so much to talk about.
Oh yeah. I
With
had
that,
one very brief note that it was just the fact that Byakuya speaks French.
Ooh.
literally, if a man couldn't get any more attractive,
Oh
he
la
just
la.
did. Oh boy.
Chef's kiss.
Chef's kiss. And also about Byakuya, with this whole like alibi situation with the four of them, he took charge and was very, very careful that if something were going to happen that night, that the four of them would be safe, which would heighten their chances of picking out like who would break the rules. And like that's another example of Marin saying he's changed his character a lot. He's leading the group and thinking about himself most of the time, but also the other people he's with.
Exactly. I also thought he did a good job of actually, during the investigation and also the trial, he really treated this investigation like how I would imagine investigations happen in real life. Because I feel like for the first three, it was like, oh, wow, we found Justice Hammer number 10. And like, how can we fit that in? Versus this time, it was like, let's establish a time of murder. Let's establish a murder weapon. Let's establish who had alibis. It was very cut and dry. And I think that he actually had a lot to do with that.
Yeah,
That's true. Yeah.
I agree. And at this point, they've practiced it 4 times, you know? They have it down to a science. Now they're like, all right, this is our 5th time at this. Like, we know what to do. As sad as that is.
Is it time, my friends, to discuss Mukuro Ikusaba? Holy cow, do I have a lot to say about her. Well, okay, so let's just go through the facts that we got, right? So we know she is the ultimate military soldier, which is such a cool talent. I actually, in the fandom and like being part of the community, there are a lot of people who like she's their favorite character, and I've never understood why, because even the few things we get of her in like, things surrounding this first game, like we don't ever really learn a ton about her, but this I kind of get it. I like, she's the ultimate military soldier. She has a cool talent. She was in a survival game tournament and a writer, so she's a multi-talented queen. And the biggest thing that we learn is she was part of a mercenary group, and it was called Fenrir.
Fenrir.
So, my queen, my bae, Toko Fukawa, brings up in the trial that this is based on Norse mythology. And it's funny that she did that because I recognized that when it came up, and so I looked into it like when they were talking about it. So here, my friends, is my ultimate literary girl skills at work. Are we ready?
Yay!
I'm so ready.
Right. So, Fenrir is the wolf that is tattooed on her hand. But the whole legend that surrounds Fenrir is Ragnarok. Lord help me, Ragnarok.
Yep.
And that was this very epic, catastrophic battle in which no one was safe, and everyone that participated in it like died. So the reason why this whole battle started is there were 2 wolves chasing after the sun and moon to create an end of days, and they were Skull and Hadi, and they worked as a team to take out the biggest things and let everything else trickle down. So they really ignited one big event, which was the release of Fenrir, which is this terrible, terrible wolf that poisons everything it touches. And so I kind of interpreted Fenrir as like a literal representation of despair being released onto the world. But yeah, that is kind of like my big thing for that. I have another literary thing to talk about later, but also, can I just say, relating to what I just said about Toko like glows up in this trial. She's like participating and like providing helpful information. And I was like, babe, what is going on? Like, I think maybe she's finally getting what she wants.
Yeah. Oh.
You know what I'm saying?
I know what you're saying. Yeah, I mean, Hiro even says, he's like, wow, the first time the ultimate literary girl is like saying something, like of value. She actually says something about a book. It's like incredible.
I agree. She seems more like, not necessarily more confident, maybe more confident, but definitely more like participating more and a little more outspoken. Like she's not just like hiding behind a shell of anxiety. Like she's actually making efforts.
I also have that The Wolf of Ragnarok. Shout out to all our Marvel fans out there, if there are any Thor fans. But The Wolf of Ragnarok is supposedly the child of the trickster god Loki and a female giant. And to the Marvel fans, Loki, he's a little sly. And I think that also kind of works with what Caroline was saying, with like the entirety of being sneaky and tricky, and this whole game is about tricking the watchers, and like, you know what I mean? Like,
no, I hear you. And like this mercenary group that she's part of, it's they are created to emit destruction, and the members of the group, after they disperse, like a lot of them were killed because of the information that they had. And it's like, I don't know if we learn more about this group at all through the rest of the game, but like it's just such a very specific experience that this girl had. Anyway,
I'd be really curious to know if any Danganronpa fans got the tattoo, like actually got it on them. That'd be really cool. So send us a pic or a tweet or anything like that. We'd love to see it.
We also learned that Kyoko wears gloves to cover up scars on her hands.
Yes.
That is very important.
Yeah.
Very true. Which is very sad. You have to wonder why, why she has the scars. I mean, not why she feels the need to cover them up.
Yeah, like what happened?
Right.
And literally, I know how this game ends. I knew that Kyoko was going to show up. And literally when she did, I audibly gasped. I was like, oh, Kyoko's back. And like the fact that the game created that element of surprise for me the second time is crazy. It speaks to how good it is.
Absolutely. And like I said, it's an unpopular opinion. I don't think a lot of people feel the same way. If you do, prove me wrong, listeners, let us know. But Case 5, this is my favorite one in this game. It's just so, the twists and turns, it's so good.
Yeah, I think I agree with you there, Maddie. There's just something about like a penultimate case, that it's just so good. Yeah.
All right, so we're going to take a quick break, but before we do, we wanted to let you guys know that we have actually launched a website. We are at ultrahopegirls.com, and there you can see our merchandise. You can learn more about us as your podcast hosts, and you can also contact us through there if you would like to. Also, don't forget that you can absolutely leave us a voicemail if you want a chance to have a question that you have featured on our podcast and we could answer it. You can leave those voicemails at anchor.fm. Don't forget as well to check out our Twitter, check out our Facebook. We are also on Tumblr now. We are Ultra Hope Girls Podcast pretty much everywhere, so you can find us there. And we also have a Patreon. So if you are able or willing to support us financially, the lowest tier is just $2 a month. And then that will give you access to some cool perks that we also elaborate on our website. So check that out. We would appreciate any support that you can give us. Stick around because we'll be right back after this break.
Are you tired of feeling trapped at home like a student at Hope's Peak Academy? Visit Tom's Itineraries so that you can plan your next trip for after it's safe to travel and quarantine has ended. Tom's Itineraries is our go-to travel planning team for domestic and international trips. They navigate the entire planning process for you, from flights, hotels, and rental cars to even restaurants, hikes, and activities. As the ultimate travel planner, Tom's Itineraries uses their industry-wide connections to find you deals and rates that the average person doesn't have access to. Tom's Itineraries can also help you navigate the college application process. They can build you a customized college tour route to all of your target schools and even coordinate the appointments and tours with the admission department. If you're looking to escape the despair of quarantine after restrictions are lifted, why not use Tom's Itineraries to plan a trip for later this year to have something to look forward to? For a limited time, if you mention Ultra Hope Girls Podcast to Tom's Itineraries, they'll take 25% off their rates. We can't wait to hear where you're planning to go post-COVID. And as always, thanks for listening.
Hello, everybody. Caroline here with a pretty exciting announcement. So I, separate from the other Ultra Hope girls, am offering some online virtual classes in things such as writing, because, I'm the ultimate literary girl, and performing, and also some clubs and classes virtually via my own school, which I founded, called the Spilling Ink School. You can check that out at thespillinginkschool.com. I'm offering tutoring and college essays. I'm offering, piano classes and all that jazz. So definitely check it out. It's a good time. And I will also be offering some clubs and classes that are Danganronpa related via OutSchool. So I'll keep the links all in the description. They are for people under 18, so ask your parents before checking it out. But yeah, I'm excited to potentially have some listeners in my classes, and I wanted to let you know that that's going on. So thanks so much in advance for checking it out, and I look forward to teaching some of you.
All right, trial time. Let's
Trial
do
time.
it. I'm gonna let someone
I
else
had a
lead.
question I wanted to raise. That was like the question that was gnawing at me the whole time I was playing this was that if Mukuro Ikusaba was the 16th student in the school this whole time and has been there hiding, why has she not participated in a trial? Because participation is mandatory for all students. And we also have reason to believe that that 16th seat that we were talking about earlier, that we weren't sure who that was for, probably was intended to be for Mukuro. Why has she not shown up?
I think the way that I explained it to myself when I first played through the game was that she had hidden the first time and might have been punished for that. So she is hidden away in the school, but has been dead since trial 1. That was kind of my take.
Oh, yeah. Okay. I mean, that makes sense. Definitely.
Yeah, and we do have it confirmed from Monokuma during this trial, or maybe right before, but he says there are 16 students, or there were 16 students in the school. That's it. There's no one else in the school.
Yeah.
That would imply then that the headmaster is not active or not part of we know he's not the mastermind at this point. Like,
right.
Like, I don't know. You can assume that based on the evidence.
It would imply, and I think that Kyoko brings this up towards the end of the chapter, it would imply that one of those 16 students is the mastermind.
Yeah, because let's say that the principal was the mastermind. Now we know he's not in the school, and I think it'd be very hard to control this outside of the school, quite frankly. So yeah, I think we can pretty confidently say.
And Kyoko also, just this kind of goes into this, like, she right before the trial, she says, hey, like, if I die, the secret of this school dies with me, like pretty much off the bat. I also had the question, this is kind of a question to pose to the group. Whoever the group would have voted for, would they have just died? And he would have said, yes, they're guilty, goodbye.
Yeah, because like this whole trial is rigged.
It is, and it's to frame Kyoko, but he kills Makoto.
Yeah.
I actually don't think that would have happened. Because the reason why the mastermind targeted Kyoko and then Makoto was because they were a threat to the mastermind. And I think the other people in the trial were not threats. If they had voted for Hina, then he might have let Makoto go free, and Makoto would be left to be like, what? Like, I don't know what's happening. But I think he would have killed everyone regardless, unless that they had picked Kyoko, and then he would have been like, good job, or I guess, we see Makoto, and then he's like, great, yep.
Yeah, because he just goes with it. And I will say also, they've talked about how Monokuma is such a stickler for the rules because there's an audience now. They've realized, like, that's the reason he's had to, stick to the rules, because otherwise he will get, I don't know, sued, get attacked, whatever. But he breaks a major rule in this trial. He executes someone who is not the Blackened.
Oh, yeah. Huge rule break.
Yeah, I mean, it was a threat to the show, so maybe the audience would have justified it because, but it is more interesting to watch somebody figure out, like, what's going on. Yeah.
I think plus Monokuma is trying to prove that he can cause these people despair under these conditions. And if he can't, then he's losing. This is almost like a game show between Monokuma and the kids. And there's one winner. It's going to be one of the two. Yeah, I think that Yeah, Monokuma's inability to win by his own rules, I think, is a big sign of his failure.
Yeah, because he's like, Kyoko, I think, is the one who says it. Like, she says the mastermind is now backed into a corner. Like, we're gaining the upper hand, you know? Like, Monokuma feels cornered.
Ooh, exciting.
Like a bear in the wild that attacks.
Yeah, she's not waving her hand slowly.
Like it's like the, you know, when you're at a concert and someone saves a seat and they're like, over here. Like,
that is exactly it.
also, this probably won't make the cut, but I just had to write it down. I couldn't not. Toko says her master must have made her get it in reference to the tattoo, and then says to be like, you're my
bleep.
Good Lord.
So good.
I also was so shocked at how quickly they disregard, like they're like, okay, so she was stabbed, she got hit in the head, and yeah, there were some old wounds on there, but like those are irrelevant. They are so quick to be like, those are irrelevant. That bothered me. That was like an inconsistency with this trial. I felt like they were like, I was like, okay, I guess we're not talking about that game. Like,
I think
the whole
it's
thing
fair,
feels rushed.
Yeah, but I think the old wounds thing is fair because he says, like, the wounds are at least several days old. And, like, they're looking at who murdered this person now, you know? And maybe it's a mistake. We don't know. But, like, I think it's very fair. Like, who is thinking that, you know, Hiro has had this girl in his room and he's been slowly torturing her? Like, that's just very weird to be the first thought that they'd, like, go into.
That's true. Yeah. My next thing has to do with the titanium arrows, but I feel like this could come first, possibly. This is like my second and probably the last big point I had to talk about. You know, Toko references, you know, Aesop's fables. So I went ahead and read the fable, and I like looked it up, and so the fable that she's referencing is, I believe it's called like I don't remember, the father and the brothers, something like that. And it's basically about brothers who quarrel, and the father gives them sticks, and he's like, hey, if you hold all of the sticks together, can you break them? And they couldn't. And the reason why he did this is to show them that as a unit, they're stronger, to keep them from fighting. And so I wanted to read the last paragraph of this story along with the lesson that it teaches. And so it's a quote from the father, and he says, "My sons," said the father, "do you not see how certain it is that if you agree with each other and help each other, it will be impossible for your enemies to injure you? But if you are divided among yourselves, you will be no stronger than a single stick in that bundle." And the lesson that we learn, that like the fable, is in unity is strength. And that, good Lord, if that doesn't just hone in on this entire situation, and we're kind of already seeing the group find unity. So I think that this fable, it's like coming true, like it's what's happening with the group. But there are still some, like, you know, Byakuya being suspicious of Kyoko, you know, there are still some issues with this. And this is like the final, like, hey, this is important. And so Toko says that, just so you know why I said this, Toko brings that up in reference to the titanium arrows, which were duct taped together to hit this person on the head, basically.
Wow. Yes! Yeah. Damn.
That was my note on the Duralumin arrows. I love that you looked it up. Yes.
But that's why that's kind of symbolic. It's like, if you look at the image of the arrows taped together, they are all the arrows working together that have made progress in like hurting the people who are against them.
Yeah, and the more divided they are, the more they're playing into the mastermind's hands. Like we saw that earlier on with, like, especially with like Celeste, and like when we were talking about the zero-sum game and the prisoner's dilemma, like literally cooperation is the only way that you can actually overcome that.
Mm-hmm. I didn't have a lot of notes about the actual trial because, I mean, the whole time I was like, I have no idea where I'm supposed to be going with this. And I think Makoto himself, he's such an incredible person because the entire trial is like, hey, I didn't do this, but it's either me or Kyoko. And I'm not only going to defend myself, but if Byakuya says something about Kyoko that's not true, I'll defend her. Like, he is the most selfless person in I want to say literature, but, video games. I mean, I name someone who's more selfless, who's up on a murder trial and defends the only other person that it could be.
Yeah, I mean, it is kind of like brave of him, because I mean, if you were in that situation and there are 6 people and 4 of them have solid alibis and you didn't kill someone and that last person does not have an alibi, wouldn't you naturally assume it could only be that person?
Right.
But Makoto trusts Kyoko.
I'm pretty confident I wouldn't be defending them. Like, oh, wow. Yeah.
I mean, this can lead right into the split ending here.
Let's talk about bad first, I think.
Yeah. And also, can I just say, before we even get to the endings themselves, like, this is like the first time, again, like I said this earlier, the first time in this game where it's like, go with your gut. Factually that she like did this thing, but like, do you trust Kyoko? And that's like a really big question, and it kind of goes against like what this game has shown us so far, which is kind of a scary thing. But anyway, it's taking a risk. Am I right, guys?
Yeah, right. And it goes against Kyoko's values too, a little bit, because she's like logic, facts, like just see what's in front of you, like, get to the truth. But then in this case, it's like what I see and what I am logically thinking through does not match how I feel and what I believe to be true.
I was actually curious. There's no way for me to know this, but I wondered if most people who have an F in their Myers-Briggs picked to trust her and most people with a T chose to not. I really wondered.
What did we 3 do?
Well, I watched anime.
Yeah, I trusted her.
Dang it. Because I'm a T and I chose to pursue the lie. And I will defend myself and say it is not because I didn't trust her. For me, it was like knowing the person who Kyoko is, and like, this is what Kyoko would do. Like, Kyoko would pursue the lie, right? I felt like that's what she wanted me to do. And like, if she was trusting me to like find the truth, you know what I mean? And that's kind of how I took it. And I quickly realized that was wrong. That was not the right choice.
See, I picked to trust her, and it was like the case just kept going, and I was like, did I pick right? Like, I was like just sitting there, the case is still going, Makoto's up for execution. I was like, I hope this is right. Maybe it'll stop me. Yeah. I will say there's an interesting difference in the wording between the correct and the incorrect execution, the syntax, if you will. For the incorrect execution, and I think you can tell me if I'm wrong, but all of the executions before this, it says Kyoko has been found guilty, time for the punishment. But when Makoto is found guilty, it says Naegi was voted guilty, time for his punishment. So it says he was voted guilty, not found guilty. And that was really interesting. I was like,
yep,
we didn't do it.
Different word choice, different situation.
Yeah,
it's true.
Because like we've established, Monokuma doesn't really lie.
Right.
Does he? Makoto was not found guilty. He was simply voted guilty.
All right. So should we
unpack
the picture?
Alternate end? Yeah, the picture that we got to be.
Yeah, there's a lot to just. A picture is worth 1,000 words.
Yep.
This is worth 10,000 words.
1,000,000, I dare say.
Yeah, I'd like to start with Hina in the picture, if you guys don't mind. Hina is the mother of 3 children now, and she is the mother of all 3 of the guys' children, so she's gone with all of them. And I just want to say, in terms of genetics, these children are not going to do very well. Incest is wrong for a lot of reasons, so I just had a moment of respect for Hina and her children. The other thing I noticed was the ages of the children. Hina got with Byakuya first, then Makoto, and then Hiro. So I decided that Hina has taste.
Amen. Oh, yes. Also, so we've talked about this before. The reason why Toko is absent in this photograph is that she exploded. That's it. That's
like
all.
spontaneously, like
exploded.
Just died.
The best possible
that
reason.
That is the words of the creators of this game themselves. They said, quote, Toko exploded.
So here's why I think she exploded. Hina got with Byakuya first, baby. And she said, I can't handle my master with anyone else. I would rather just combust. And that's what she did.
Oh my god.
I support this reasoning. Yeah.
For real. Yeah. And oh my god, I cannot believe. I literally, and he's holding the picture of her and he's like smiling. Like he's smiling.
But isn't it kind of like a soft smile? Like,
it is. It's like,
I miss the love of my life, that it's been proven that we had a really solid relationship with one another.
Or he's relieved that she's gone.
That's what I was thinking. But Jason Westhoff thinks that they are together, and that is all the proof I need.
Yes. Maddie says no. Yeah.
Agree
Do you have
to
any more
disagree.
thoughts about the picture?
Do I?
I mean, in both executions, they're both getting a lesson in reproduction.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
I noticed that too.
So
I wanted to bring up, if it is an okay time to do so, Kyoko again, because we kind of mentioned before that Kyoko puts Makoto in danger. And before we were like, well, maybe she kind of doesn't because he's not really breaking any rules. But now she literally sends him to his execution. And this part of the game I struggled with because I was like, wow, well, did Kyoko really choose to sacrifice Makoto in order to keep herself alive so she could uncover the truth of the school? But after Makoto's failed execution, where alter ego pops up on the screen, stops those gears from turning so Makoto doesn't get crushed, and he falls into the garbage pit and like survives his execution, everyone is standing around, like, you know, Byakuya, Hina, Hiro, Toko, whatever, and they're all in shock. And and Monokuma is standing there like, what on earth? Like, he's furious. And Kyoko is the only one who is not surprised. She's standing there like looking with this very smug smile. And I have a quote from her that says, "It seems you finally made a miscalculation. You shouldn't have underestimated us." And then that made me wonder, okay, well, did Kyoko come up with a plan with alter ego beforehand to say like so that alter ego could interfere with a future execution of Monokuma's? Like, I wonder if that was Kyoko's plan all along and she wasn't sending him to his death. She really was like just hoping that Makoto would forgive her for, like, because it's still really traumatic. I mean, to be sent to that kind of situation and think you're about to die. And but I wonder if Kyoko was like, I got to do this to Makoto. Like, he's going to live. He'll make it through. Whatever. We can make up afterwards. But I cannot get executed.
I wonder. She does say right before he gets voted guilty, and she says, "I know that you'll never forgive me for this." So I don't think she expected forgiveness, but I don't think that proves that she didn't have a plan, if that makes sense. Like, I don't think she expected him to be okay with it. But you might be right. Yeah, I guess I'm not sure. That's really interesting.
Yeah. It just struck me that she really did not seem surprised when the execution failed and when alter ego popped up. She like smiled and she was like, yep. So it seemed like she was expecting it. I don't know. I agree that it's not proof, but it made me think of that. And I just, oh, Kyoko.
Yeah.
What a star.
In the actual execution, I actually wanted to kind of talk about that. And Caroline, you referenced it. And so I think you have the same note maybe that I do. But on the the chalkboard behind Monokuma, when Makoto is moving slowly backwards towards his death, it says on the board, beginning of life, fertilization, implantation. And then right before he's about to die, it says, April 1st, Wednesday, day duty, Naegi. And then it says, end of life, crushed, poisoned, drowned, burn, frozen, indignation. And it kind of, to me, felt like they were trying to have his life flash before his eyes. Like, I wondered if we saw all of the boards, if it would have been a little bit more of like a progression through his life. But that last indignation is the only one that wasn't a type of death, and that was when alter ego came in. And so it was like Monokuma was actively writing on the board. I really liked that. Also, April 1st is April Fool's Day, and I wondered if he was calling Makoto a fool. we have a certain host who likes to do the same.
Yes, Makoto is an insolent fool.
There she is.
I'll just have it be said.
Oh my gosh. Let's see. So Makoto gets executed, and right after he gets executed, I don't remember who said it. I think it's Hiro. It's either Hiro or Byakuya, but he says, I knew it wasn't Naegi. And I was like, then why didn't you say something? What? That was very frustrating. Yeah.
And like, so after like Makoto falls down this chute, it was funny because when I was playing this through, I was like a little like tired, and I kind of was zoning out a little bit, you know, just trying to get through. And then it like flashes back to the beginning of the game, and then my brain was like, uh-oh, did it glitch? Oh God, am I gonna have to go all the way back to, oh good God, of course this is happening to me right now. I was like so like annoyed, and then I was like, maybe it's just part of the game, we're just gonna click through it. So I don't know, like it made me kind of feel like it was having a meta moment where maybe we were living in Groundhog Day. Like maybe if he died, then everything starts over again, you know, kind of thing.
Like that's not a win. You have to try again. Interesting. Yeah, that's actually a really good point. I like that. The next thing I have is when Makoto calls Kyoko bulky waste in the anime and a piece of trash in the game. Because I thought that was really funny.
I like when she has the ramen noodles on her head.
I know, it's so cute.
Best Kyoko sprite. We also find out that the whole trial then, I mean, we've really been talking about it, but we find out that it was a frame on Kirigiri and an attempt on Makoto's life, that he actually could have died there, which is interesting because that's the first time in a game no, it's not. Sayaka tried to kill us. Forgot about that. But actually, the moment in the trash chute where Kyoko and Makoto are talking and she's like, look, I'm really sorry, like I know you aren't gonna forgive me, and he's like, no, I do, like it's fine. Which is such a like blasé, like I'm not mad, I'm just disappointed. But it reminded me a lot of his conversation with Sayaka, where he said, I'll do anything for you, and she took it to me and I can kill you. Because same thing happened, except Kyoko kind of went through with it.
Makoto just constantly being taken advantage of by the women, but he's kind of an idiot, so I don't blame him at all.
Yeah. The next thing I have is that Kyoko's dad is the principal.
Yeah.
Cray cray.
And
wild.
Kyoko's ultimate, we finally learn she is the ultimate detective. Yay! My queen. I love her.
Icon. Yeah. I wrote on here, she said that she was protecting Makoto when, you know, he was getting attacked or whatever by the masked figure. And she said, I can hear the god of death, which did some research, and yep, Maddie might have the same
quote
thing.
I wrote down. Yeah,
yes!
It was like, it gave me chills. She was like, I can hear the footsteps of the god of death. I'm like, oh my god, Kyoko.
The Grim Reaper.
Yeah. So I did some research on gods of death, and I decided to keep with the Egyptian theme because that's been on the walls in previous trials, you know, and stuff like that. And the Egyptian god of death is Anubis. They have a couple different gods of death, but this is kind of one of the primary ones. And some say that he bears resemblance to a wolf, an Egyptian wolf. And I just thought it was a little full circle that Kyoko could hear a wolf coming to kill Makoto because of the whole thing with Fenrir.
Yes!
Yeah.
And you find out ultimate despair is two people. Two wolves. Like I was talking about earlier, baby.
So we got Anubis and Fenrir.
Yeah.
Did you just say tag yourself?
Yes.
Personally, I feel like I'm a Fenrir because it's more Norse mythology, and I'm like,
you are totally a Fenrir. I can totally see it. Scream.
Oh my god.
That's all
but
I
we
got,
also, I think also this is the first time that Kyoko officially comes out and says that she thinks the mastermind stole her memories from her.
Yes, true.
Too. Because she's the ultimate detective. She can solve the murders. Like, the mastermind probably would not have wanted her to be able to figure out everything that was going on, you know? But
yeah. I will say, though, she still maintains a really strong level of detective ability throughout. I mean, she does full autopsies. I mean, like, she's not really bothered by her lack of memory. She's like, I seem to remember doing this at some point. And it's like, oh, okay. Yeah, go for it.
She forgets, like, the label of what she is officially, but she still maintains all of her skills. And so it kind of didn't work, taking her memories away.
You could say that it didn't matter if she had a label or not, because the essence of who she was shone through no matter what.
Yeah, absolutely.
My girl.
That's all I got, baby.
That's all the notes I've got. My last quote was the God of Death quote.
Me too.
Footsteps of the God of Death. Which I thought was just good. Insanely poetic. And it's not usually like Kyoko to talk like that, you know?
Right. That was a lot to unpack, folks.
Yep.
All right, so today for Bed, Wed, Behead, we will be going through the characters Sakura, Mondo, and Chihiro, which have no significance to one another. We use the random name generator again. We're getting to the point where there are few combinations left, it feels like. So we just wanted to see what it came up with. So this one's going to be kind of hard, I feel like. I don't know. I'm not really sure what I want to do yet.
I know my answer, if you want me to go first.
Do it.
Yeah, Maddie.
I would behead Mondo. I also beheaded Mondo in Chapter 5, Part 1 last week, so that's fun. Sorry, Mondo. But you're up against Chihiro and Sakura right now, so no competition. I would bed and wed Sakura and Chihiro.
This is the opposite of last time. Last time Maddie was like, I would like to do nothing to any of them.
No. Here's what I would say. I would bed Chihiro and wed Sakura, personally. I think, actually, I'm questioning that decision. I don't know. This is really tough. This is so tough. God.
Maddie has decision fatigue at this moment.
Oh, shoot. You know what? I might actually bed Sakura and wed Chihiro, because I love them both very dearly. But I think in terms of a long-term marriage, I actually might have more common interests with Chihiro as far as, like, science-y and nerdy stuff goes. Marin looks really angry at me right now, but, like, I'm
just thinking back to a certain second episode.
I know, this is really hard, because, like, Sakura and I would also, like, be workout buddies, and, like, this is not an easy decision. I'm sorry.
It's fine. No, it's fine. I'm fine.
You need someone who's gonna take care of you, and Sakura will.
Yeah, that's all. It's fine.
I'm gonna wed and bed both of them. That's my answer.
Agreed with for you. Yes. Okay, I think for me, I would wed Sakura. Yeah, she's pretty cool. I think that would be really stable. You know, I could really, I was going to say deal with that for life, but that doesn't sound very positive. So I could live happily with Sakura for life. I would bed Mondo. Yep. And I would behead Chihiro, because I could not picture bedding Chihiro. I think I did that at one point. It's just disturbing to me. I don't know. He's just so small, and, like, it's just he looks like he's like 12.
All right. So for me, I think I would behead Mondo, because, you know, not a fan. I don't know what this is right now.
I really like it. Keep going.
Thank you. Yeah. I think that I would bed Chihiro, because I think that Sakura and I would be a better long-term relationship. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, because I self-doubt a lot, you know, and I think Sakura would ground me.
Okay, I would like to actually finalize my answer and say I think I would wed Sakura and bed Chihiro, because I think Sakura, I think you guys are right. I think Chihiro is a lot like me in his anxieties, and that being with someone who is not as anxiety-ridden as myself might be better for me.
Did we all wed Sakura?
Yeah.
I think we did.
Nice.
What a queen.
Yeah, she's pretty cool.
She is.
All right, everybody, that is it for chapter 5, and y'all get ready for chapter 6, which is coming out in a couple of weeks. There is, as you can imagine, much to discuss. We have a Patreon if you want to support us. The lowest tier is only $2 a month, and you get a lot of bonus episodes. Like Marin does like nurse files. Caroline, me, just talks about Caroline things. And then Maddie is like a psychologist queen over here. So if you want more character analysis stuff, Maddie is your gal. We also are on Facebook, Twitter, and Tumblr, all under Ultra Hope Girls Podcast. So check us out on there. And we now have a website, ultrahopegirls.com, where you can contact us and learn a little bit more about what's coming up, about who we've interviewed. And yeah, hope you all have a good day, and we will see you next week. Bye.
Bye.